Hello and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch, Facebook, and the YouTubes. It's time to queer up the news. It is Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm out South Florida senior reporter John Hayden. Al has the night off. This evening, we bring you the news of and perspective, representing the LGBTQ+ community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ+ news, you will see it and hear it.
HOTspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ+ community. Our mission is to support the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, students and youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ media companies in America, HOTspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 38 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ+ and broader community.
Well, let's meet tonight's panel and begin with Bonnie Builder. Bonnie is the premier South Florida bodybuilding drag queen and the reigning MX Marys 2023. A recent graduate of FIU, she comes to life with a microphone and a spotlight. And now, with a sash. Welcome, Bonnie.
Oh my God, thank you so much. It took so long to get this. I had to work really hard. I had to beat up 5 other sons of queens to get this. I earned it.
You did. So how did you earn this august title?
Well, I showed up and they were like, "You're the most gorgeous one." And I was like, "Duh." And I was like, "Give me something." And they gave me a sash. No, I'm kidding. So I did the
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Mixed Hamburger Mary's pageant, which was on last Wednesday. It was me and 5 other competitors. I showed up, showed out, and they gave me a cash prize and a sash.
Woohoo! Nice.
Right? Money for this.
Yeah.
About time.
Yeah.
What did Dolly Parton say? It takes a lot of money to look this cheap.
How dare you? Oh, I'm middle class.
Next, let's welcome Jeff Oliverio, a founder and treasurer of the Hollywood LGBTQ+ Council. Jeff is Our Fund's Next Generation Philanthropist Award recipient. And he just finished a 2-year stint as co-chair of the National LGBTQ Task Force. Welcome, Jeff.
Welcome, happy to be here. That 2-year stint sounds like a prison term.
Well, tell me, how was it? No, but in all seriousness, it's a lot of work. It's an excellent cause, but it's a lot of work to pull this thing together.
It is a lot of work. It was a wonderful evening. We had some amazing honorees. Dominique Jackson, for those who were in the room to hear her speak, spoke to the message of the night, which I think, again, being here in South Florida with the attacks on our trans community, she just shined. And so it was really amazing. And we had amazing talent, Latrice Royale, Delon Burnside, Robbie Elias. I mean, it was just a really celebrity-filled, fun event for everybody in South Florida.
Yeah, I was there, so you know.
Yeah. Everybody was glam on the red carpet. So, it was a really great night.
Are you looking forward to next year to just kind of being able to go, I'm just going to attend, here's some money, let me enjoy myself?
I will certainly be part of the event, but in a different capacity. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Now let's welcome Dr. Edward Summers. He is the executive director of Pride Lines, Miami's LGBTQ community center. Dr. Summers previously served as a primary therapist and program director at Eye Care Treatment Center in West Palm Beach and primary therapist at United Recovery Project in Lake Worth. Prior to working in treatment industry, Dr. Summers was the founder and CEO of a New York-based nonprofit, the Thinkubator. Welcome, Dr. Summers.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's just great to be among all of you guys. So.
Guys, whoa.
Oh, sorry. Whoa. My pronouns. My bad.
Now my hands are doing weird things.
I'm not tucked, you're fine.
Thanks.
So you've been on the job a week or so now?
So it's been less than a week. Actually, Monday was official. However, once it got announced, I pretty much started working. So it's been great so far. So far, so good. It's a lot of work, but it's an exciting time. Pride Lines is here. We're celebrating, 41 years. And we're going to be stronger than ever. So looking forward to building on Victor's legacy. He was the CEO for about 15 years, and then he volunteered 3 years prior. So he had 18 years of experience with Pride Line. So that's huge shoes to fill. I heard he's a size 10.5. I'm only a 9. So,
there are so many.
No, I don't want to go there with something else I want to say. But anyhow. But yeah, it's an exciting time. He's definitely left a tremendous legacy, and I'm looking forward to building upon his legacy.
And I'm looking forward to these next couple of years, watching it grow and see what you do, because we've talked a little bit about off camera about what your plans are, what the organization's needs are, and I'm just really excited to see a renaissance. Would that be a fair word? A renaissance
of
the organization.
We have some. I have a tremendous vision already, and really just building off the legacy of the organization and what's needed in South Florida, what's needed in Miami. The LGBT community is huge, and there's tremendous need out there. Every day that I've been in the office since I got appointed, I see young queer youth coming in, just asking for a variety of our services. The need is just so great. We've seen some elderly individuals. We've seen homeless individuals. We've seen just young professionals who are new to Florida saying, I need to find community. So I'm excited about what's to come for our Pride Lines. We have some grandiose visions of what we want. And I'm the one that will make it happen, quite frankly. I'm a go-getter. So I believe in definitely executing on the vision.
Wow. I look forward to it.
Absolutely.
Good luck. And at long last, finally, we say hi to Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 9 books, and his entertainment coverage, including celebrity interviews, runs in a variety of print and online publications, including the one and only out of South Florida. Welcome, Gregg.
Thank you very much. Glad to be back again. It's always a fun group, and actually excited about an interview I'm doing on Thursday. I'm going to be interviewing Melissa Manchester. Ooh. She's going to be in the national tour of Funny Girl. She will be playing Mrs. Bryce.
Okay.
So, and I've talked to her before, and she's a doll, so I'm looking forward to talking to her again.
Oh, wow. Awesome. I can't wait to read it. That'll be fun. Well, we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening, we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community around the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Tuesday, October 4th. And we begin by queering up breaking news. Queer News Tonight, 11 days of historic LGBTQ plus live news broadcasting from the Middle East. Queer News Tonight is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news broadcasting live. Our team strives every day to ensure you get the recent updates about the queer community from South Florida, America, and around the world. Now we have decided to add some excitement to the show as we report live for 11 days at locations across the Middle East. Special broadcasts will come from Greece, Egypt, Crete, Rhodes, Cyprus, and Turkey. Make sure to stay tuned as we bring you the world's headlines from some of the world's most historic locations. And I don't have to be a Delphic oracle to know that this is going to be a very important set of shows that we are going to do. This cruise that Al, Faye, many of our family here at Happening Out, as well as the Sunshine Cathedral community, have been planning this for well over a year. They've saved, they've made their payments, they've talked about it. We've been here when they've done at the Sunshine Cathedral, when they've done their get-togethers to get to know each other before, they lock themselves on a ship for 11 days with strangers. So they've really formed a great community. But most importantly is the message this is going to send. We're going to be doing a show that's unambiguous in its name, queer news. And that's two things a lot of governments in that particular part of the Eastern Mediterranean don't like. They don't like queers, and they don't like honest news. And we're going to be doing shows from where the Sphinx is. That's huge. And I really look forward to it. I wish our crew, David, Steve, good luck doing this. I know you're going to make it great. And to everybody who's going to be on the show, this is such an important set of shows for the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah, safe travels to our Queer News Tonight family. Can't wait to follow the reports from their journey. It's going to be groundbreaking.
It'll be exciting to see all those relics, including Al. Live. I'm just kidding, Al. I love you. You're not here, so we get to make jokes. This is really historic.
He was here, we'd be making jokes.
Exactly. This is historic, though, to have representation in this part of the world and doing this type of a broadcast and sending a message. I think it'll be really great. I hope everyone does check it out, shares it on social media and on to your friends, because this is something that probably has never happened in the capacity that we're doing it with Queer News.
And I'm so proud of all of us for taking this on. This is actually incredible. This is so amazing. Look at us growing and expanding. Look at us getting bigger and bigger, especially you. Yeah.
I am right now. Well, now let's queer up HOTspots. HOTspots celebrates Gay Christmas with a special Halloween edition. HOTspots magazine is all set to celebrate this Halloween season. It's rounded up the scariest LGBTQ plus television characters and film characters and where to watch them. The new edition covers 5 scary characters, including Buffalo Bill from the classic Silence of the Lambs, Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, to Louis de Pointe-du-Lac and Lestat Lioncourt from Interview with the Vampire. All you have to do is choose your favorite, scariest character and enjoy Halloween night. But this night would be incomplete without devilish desserts. And Halloween demands wicked creativity in the cooking and baking department. The magazine makes sure you spend a frighteningly fun time in the kitchen while creating a sweet, spooky, ghostly graveyard cake from a very simple recipe in the mag. Also, the upcoming issue of HOTspots magazine shows how you can support initiatives like Trick or Treat for UNICEF, a campaign that started as a neighborhood donation drive in 1950 and has raised nearly $200 million for children around the world. The Halloween HOTspots magazine has everything for everyone, and you won't want to miss it. So make the most out of this spooky season. It hits stands on Thursday, so make sure you grab a free copy. And, Buffalo Bill, he in this movie, he literally is out creepying Hannibal Lecter, and the only thing I have to say, it puts the lotion on the skin and then it puts it back again.
You guys have a little poodle that you carry with you too?
Yeah, a little toy poodle that I'll just Precious! Oh wait, that was my Gollum.
So I have to say, I love the cover of HOTspots. It looks great, fantastic. It's definitely engaging, and it's like a must read, quite frankly.
That is so cool.
It's amazing. It's hot.
That body art is incredible. Look at
it looks like a graphic novel.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very enticing. I also love in the magazine 2 particular things. I love featuring UNICEF. I think that's a pretty amazing fundraising over $200 million. I think it's great to see it featured in the gay magazine, and it demolishes the cliche that we don't care about social causes, right? So I love seeing that in there. And then more importantly, I love the kitchen. So I love cooking. So I can't wait to see the recipes. My son, who will be down here from New York, will love it next week. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's so cool.
If you bake the cake, you might bring some in.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. You like to cook, I like to eat. So.
I should have you over, girl.
Hello.
I love hosting.
All right. Note to scheduling. We need to have him on the show next week. Next Tuesday. Before we move on, I want to ask, favorite Halloween movie? Jeff.
The classic Halloween original.
Okay.
You stole mine.
Oh God, it's got to be Scream, but I'm gonna nerd out. It's gonna be Scream 1, and then Scream 5. I'm gonna add to it, followed by Scream 6, and then Scream 3. It was really campy, and then Scream 2, and then Scream 4 was not my favorite, but I love the Scream series. That's my choice.
Very cool and very specific. You know.
Oh, I'm a horror
not making stuff up.
nerd.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scream 3 had only one killer. Oh, sorry. Spoiler. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's
2003
wild.
edition.
Keep going. Go.
Dr. Summers.
So I'll have to go with Nightmare on Elm Street. It's classic. I love it. I'm a kid of the 80s, so always loved it. So.
My family's home movies.
Oh, no. Oh, wow. I have to endorse a movie on, it's recency bias, but there's a movie on Hulu called Slaughterhouse.
He's bringing this up again.
And it is
Good.
amazing. It is. And at first I was like, is this an homage or is it just a bunch of tropes? And then I realized it's an homage to tropes, all the Halloween tropes. You've got this sloth that can mass murder, is internet savvy, very big on social media, knows how to drive a car, and dispose of bodies and clean up crime scenes so that nobody suggests it. This movie is bananas. I highly recommend it.
Doesn't it give
Check it
sloths
out.
a bad name, though?
I want this sloth. I want this sloth to live in my home with me and Figaro and just take care of all my irritating neighbors. It's going to be great.
That's a scary movie right there. Well, next, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Orlando Pride Parade Grand Marshal was an 11-year-old trans girl. Over the weekend, Dempsey Jara became the youngest Grand Marshal in the history of Orlando's Come Out with Pride Parade. Her mother, Jamie Jara, a school teacher, beamed beside her on stage when the girl stood up to share a message while wearing a princess-style gown. She talked about the importance of being who she is in a world that wants to change her. Her message, though personal, touched everyone's heart as most trans youth and adults face the same obstacles every day. This was the 18th Orlando Pride Parade, which had a 2-hour procession of rainbow-adorned floats, pledging support for a community frustrated by a spate of hateful state legislation designed to erode the personal freedoms of LGBTQ+. The parade concluded with fireworks and performances by Lala Ree and Monet Exchange. Former Orlando State Representative Carlos Guillermo Smith, the first openly LGBTQ+ Latino legislature in Florida, also praised the event, calling it impressive and encouraging despite the Republican-led legislature's animosity and hostility during the spring session. It's a great message, having a youth representation in the Pride Parade. I know, again, it's a big focus, of course, for us for Hollywood Pride. Last year we were fortunate to partner with Safe Schools South Florida, bringing a family-friendly Pride event, and also really making the youth a focus of the Pride event. So I'm happy to see that Orlando Pride did this because, again, the messaging and what's happening in Florida is really aimed at our youth, unfortunately. And, again, thankful we have organizations like Pride Lines and Safe Schools South Florida that are out there supporting the LGBTQ youth in our community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Brava Dempsey. I mean, I'm really sorry I missed this historic Orlando Pride. I've yet to attend an Orlando Pride, but I'm going to make an effort to do it one of these days.
Go ahead. Wait, you were talking about your few days at Pride Lines and how LGBT youth sort of stream right through. What are you hearing, and what does a story like this, how can you get this story to them so that it gives them a little hope?
Yeah, so tonight, actually, we have a group called, it's a binary group of young people who get together who, may not identify, maybe non-binary, may identify as trans. So we get them together for these circles where they come and talk and share their experiences. And these experiences like the Orlando Pride is what we talk about, the power of the speech of the young lady and her family and the support that they have. Unfortunately, not all young queer youth have supportive families. In some ways, Pride Lines becomes that supportive family, and the people that they meet at these circles, these conversations that they have, become their family and their support system. So it's, we will continue to host these events for our young people. We've even talked, just in my short time at Pride Lines, of increasing what we do in a number of circles that we host at Pride Lines, and then doing some remote work at some of our satellite locations as well, because it's that important. We're just seeing a need. I've seen it so much in my short time there that it's just compelled me to want to do more to support these young people. It's also compelled me to want to do more. I'm a political science in my previous life of really wanting to get more involved with.
What haven't you done? That's another show. That's another show.
That's another show.
You're awesome.
Yeah. So but I want to do a lot more advocacy and bring a lot more advocacy and support. For youth and really fighting against the devastating legislation that we've been seeing here in Florida.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I will say kudos to this beauty queen in her princess style gown. Also kudos to the parents who are just encouraging their child to be yourself despite how much backlash you will get. There is going to be an uphill battle for the rest of your life, but you will handle it with class and grace and more princess gowns. So I'm very proud of you. Thank you so much for participating in this.
And what makes this especially poignant is, as bad as we think we have it down here in South Florida, Orlando is really ground zero for all the vitriol coming out of Tallahassee. The governor came and has picked a fight with Disney that he is losing terribly. It's almost fun to watch if it wasn't so hate-driven, to be honest. But Orlando, they lost, Disney lost that, but they're fighting the governor. And then they gerrymandered Representative Carlos out of his seat in the last election. He went from like a +9 blue district, and he lost in a +2 red district. They are working so hard to get rid of us from the State House, from Disney, from the streets, from the public square, and that this happened in Orlando amongst this terrible and I know trans and drag, not the same, and I'm not trying to conflate them, but in the middle of this attack on just expressing ourselves and being ourselves. And this girl gets up and stands up there. She doesn't just march in the parade. She doesn't blend in with the crowd. She stands out. You inspire me. And I'll be honest, when I first read this story, I almost teared up a little bit. I was getting choked up because this person is such an inspiration. And there's nothing that Ron DeSantis or his fascist cronies in Tallahassee can do to shut her up. And she is going to be a model for a generation. And that just warms my heart to no end.
Absolutely.
Thank you, my love. All righty. Next, let's clear up drag culture. Montana judge upholds block on drag ban. A federal court judge extended a stay on a law banning public drag performances in Montana. Judge Brian Morris issued a preliminary injunction saying the bill violates freedom of speech and expression under the First Amendment. The new law passed bans drag performances in any public place where minors could be present. Lawmakers in support of the bill said it will protect minors from what they call obscenity. In his ruling, Moore said he found no evidence indicating minors face any harm from drag-related events. Earlier this year, several Helena-based businesses, nonprofits, and individuals brought a lawsuit challenging the bill ahead of Montana Pride. The plaintiffs said the bill's language creates uncertainties around events scheduled for the celebration. Morris then issued a temporary block on the ban for the event, ruling it had a, quote, chilling effect on his free speech. His latest decision sets a more permanent stay in place. The blocks will remain in place while a case works its way through the courts. Montana's law was the first in the country to specifically ban drag performers from reading to kids. A transgender woman, 2 bookstore owners, and an educator sued the state in July to overturn the law. Similar laws in Tennessee and Florida have also been blocked. Now, when all this initially came to a head, I was obviously on Drag Queen Instagram, and we were very upset. Especially being a South Florida queen, not only do we have to deal with humidity, we have to deal with the bullshit. So to hear that we have made some sort of stride forward is very comforting, because at the time, we're all stressed out, we're all affected. I actually lost 2 gigs because of all this rhetoric going on. And people were telling me, just relax, it's not going to go through. And I'm like, how can you be so certain? How can you be so sure? But this is actually so comforting to hear that Montana is upholding this block on the drag ban to protect us in a sort of weird way. Our queer voices, our ability to perform and work and pay bills and be upstanding members of society. we're just the most gorgeous ones to do it. But this is so comforting to hear the story.
And I love the fact that the judge there, Judge Morris, cited the First Amendment, right? Because it is your First Amendment expression, right? And so I think we'll probably start to see more of this around the country because he's setting precedent here, right? Yeah. Legal precedent where other judges now have something to cite in their rulings. So I pray and hope that we will continue to see more. I think we will.
Yeah, it's interesting, again, bringing up free speech and the irony that, these legislatures who are passing these bans, which, again, limit freedom, and then, but then profess that they're fighting for freedom, but only if it's the freedom that they agree with, and then that freedom isn't free because you can't express it the way you want to, and you can't be who you want to be. So kudos to the judge for actually, reading the Constitution maybe and knowing how things are supposed to work. And I hope that we, can legislate our way out of these issues. And going to the courts seems to be the place to get these things overturned because they are unconstitutional in many instances, whether it's from healthcare to drag performances to, what you can bring your children to. Interestingly, I went to the movies over the weekend with my 15-year-old son. We went to see a rated R movie. He is of age where I am okay with him to see a rated R movie, but I cannot bring him. A few weeks ago, we went to a birthday party for a friend at our house, and I can't bring him to our house just to a friend's birthday party because children are not allowed where drag performances are. It makes no sense. It is limiting the freedom of parents to do what they think is correct with their children.
Yes.
Well, wonders never cease, and in Montana, no less.
Yes.
Here is the important part. In his ruling, Judge Brian Morris, quote, found no evidence indicating minors faced any harm from drag-related events, end quote, and preach.
Full stop.
Now, I will add, it can be dangerous at a drag show because, the kicks and the flips and just a little pump, a wig might fly, an earring might just go through your forehead. It can be a little dangerous, but not in the way they're saying it. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. The kids, to quote a great movie, the kids are all right.
Yes.
And the judge recognized it, and he saw this. And basically, what it comes down to is just what a person is wearing. You're essentially wanting to legislate a dress code in the public square, because if someone, a biological male, sits down, reads a innocent children, a Dr. Seuss book to kids, no problem. Put on a frock and a wig and some fabulous nails, oh my God, this child is going to be scandalized and messed up. No, the only thing that is real, the only real possible injury is to parents whose blood pressure goes up. That's the only thing. And girl, deal with it.
I mean, listen, I've taken my son's now going to be 11 next week, and I've taken him to drag shows since he was like 1 or 2 years old. And what I love about my son now is he is the most cultured, most open, most inclusive person. I mean, I mean. He plays sports, but then he likes a Barbie doll, right? I just love that about him. I love that he is just one of the, I don't know, he's everything.
Free thinking.
He's free flowing, free spirited, just a loving person and sees people for who they are and just cares about people. And I do contribute it to me just opening him up to just different types of performances and not just your stereotypical hetero type of performance, right? Yeah. So I love being able to take. And again, I'm from New York, so a little disclaimer, we don't have those laws up there, but I just love being able to take them to there and having the choice to do that, right? It is my choice. He's my kid. I don't need no government telling me what to do with my kid. So I just love it.
Kindness is natural. Hate is learned. So good for you. You're a hell of a parent.
Thank you. Now, let's queer up politics. New report shows lawmakers also targeting LGBTQ plus allies. A record number of anti-LGBTQ plus bills were filed and passed across the country this year. They collectively have the effect of marginalizing LGBTQ plus people and driving even their mention from the public square. A new report from the Movement Advancement Project, or MAP, makes clear this year's wrap of bills also targets those supporting LGBTQ plus people, including doctors, teachers, and corporations that appeal to or embrace the community. Naomi Goldberg, Deputy Director and LGBTQ Program Director at MAP, said opponents are aware of the LGBTQ support support of LGBTQ equality from Americans. As a result, they are creating a false perception of lower support by scaring people into silence. Families and doctors filed a federal lawsuit over one such bill in North Carolina. The bill prohibits gender-affirming medical care for those under 18, including treatment advised by their doctors and to which their parents consent. The law also prohibits state funds and Medicaid dollars from being used for such care. Doctors providing such care could lose their medical licenses under the law. Nearly 2/3 of bills targeting the LGBTQ plus community and allies this year included the loss of medical license or other professional discipline for defying anti-LGBTQ plus legislation. Last year, the number was less than 50%. You know, as somebody who's a licensed therapist, it's scary, right? It's very scary that if I'm just performing my craft, my job, my duty, right? And trying to do what's right by my patient, because I'm held to oath to do right by my patient, right? That I could get my license ripped away from me. It is very scary, very challenging. And, you know, as we said in the last segment, like, it's just hatred, and hate doesn't win here. And I think that this will eventually get overturned, like other policies that are getting overturned.
Mm-hmm. I mean, also, I think that the narrative has been that the wave of anti-LGBTQ bills and things, and then targeting corporations who support our community. You know, we can use Target, we can use Bud Light, we can use, you know, any of those examples. It is a very, very narrow minority who is making a lot of that noise. And we need to do better as our community to come out in support of those companies. Right. I was just talking about this right ahead of the gallows. We were talking about, again, kind of our, you know, we have a lot of corporate sponsors, of course, and really what we need to do is we need to be a megaphone for the support we already get from those communities. You know, people were hanging out Target to dry. Target was one of the most progressive retailers for so many years that supported our community before they were selling merchandise in the store. They were giving benefits for same-sex partners. They were doing all the things that we would be advocating for. And then, you know, our own community tore them down in some ways for moving merchandise around the store when they were protecting their employees. So, you know, we need to do a better job of also being very vocal and supporting those companies that support us. Absolutely.
You know, I think, God, this is such a difficult story, because it affects us at home. Mm-hmm. It affects us every single place we do. And yes, they're attacking our doctors, and, you know, for whether it's to prescribe women's health, mm-hmm. or whether it's for trans treatment. They're telling school professionals to out their students. They're attacking the doctors that prescribe legal drugs for real treatments. They are attacking friends who help friends leave the state to go get treatment that's banned in a state. Mm-hmm. It's a terrifying time. And beyond the legal boundaries that they're trying to place on us, our allies are under attack by the people who these hateful people talk to. It was just a couple months ago that a woman had her store shot up and murders just because she had a pride flag. She has like 9 kids or something. And just because she said, I don't hate, I love. And she was attacked. Yeah. And stories like that happen across the country. And we try to report as many as we can, but unfortunately, we can't keep up with it. From the attacks on our trans sisters and brothers, to our children, to our drag entertainers, to people who just want to be who they are, mm-hmm. and they're being told they can't, and they don't know if the person walking towards them on the street is going to attack them or not. So between the legislatures and these so-called lone wolves, we're not in a safe space. And stories like this just help us focus on that, and hopefully gives us a foothold to help us propel ourselves forward and get out of this dark cloud.
Next, let's queer up gay culture. New study shows LGBTQ plus Americans have more issues in retirement. While preparing for retirement can be difficult for anyone, LGBTQ plus Americans face unique challenges that can cast a shadow over their golden years. For example, LGBTQ plus people over age 60 leave the workforce sooner. are less likely to believe that their retirement savings are on track and struggle more to pay medical bills than their straight and cisgender counterparts. They're also twice as likely to report having experienced discrimination in the past year. Edge Media Network published an article based on an analysis of data from the Federal Reserve Board's annual survey of household economics and decision-making, or SHED. Data from 2019 to 2021 was used to compare the nearly 500 LGBTQ+ respondents aged 60 and older with their cisgender counterparts. When asked how they were managing financially, most older LGBTQ+ adults considered themselves to be either living comfortably or doing okay. However, they also said that they faced big economic challenges that could threaten their long-term well-being. Significantly fewer LGBTQ+ respondents said they own their own home, which means they have less opportunity to build equity that can be used later in life. Nearly 1 in 3 LGBTQ+ respondents retired because of health problems. 1 in 4 retired because of disliking their work, and almost 1 in 6 said they were forced to retire. Well, speaking personally, as a freelance entertainment writer, without anything resembling a pension or 401k, retirement doesn't feel like a possibility to me. Thankfully, I love my work, and I hope to continue to do it for many more years to come.
Yeah.
You know, as a profession, I'm a certified financial planner, and this is what I talk about all day long. There is not enough talk about it in our LGBTQ community. I'm actually part of, with Truist, we have a diverse advisory council, which is on the Wealth platform. So it deals with all issues, LGBTQ, Black, disability, all different issues that could be, again, implemented within financial planning. And the messaging around financial planning, if you watch a commercial for, Fidelity on TV, who is it going to show? A straight white couple in their 60s that are walking through, a fountain in a gated community. We have, so even down to the marketing of what is about, what financial planning is about. So, I encourage everyone, if you don't work with a financial planner or don't work with someone to advise you, it's very important. But our LGBTQ community is also, especially those in the survey who are 60 and over, if you can think back, again, we didn't have marriage equality, so you may not have the Social Security benefits of a long-term partner if you were not married, or maybe you were married, maybe you were with somebody for 20 years and you separated before marriage was ever a thing. If you were married twice, you could get Social Security from 2 of your spouses if you were divorced, under legally. But as an LGBTQ person who wasn't able to get married, you would not be eligible for that. So there's a myriad of reasons of why our community is disadvantaged, especially, the community over the age of 60.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask this question because it pings on a stereotype, but it certainly crossed my mind. A lot of us, especially the generation hitting retirement, right,
mm-hmm.
never had kids. And if they did, it was from straight marriages. But for the most part, a lot of LGBT. And the joke has always been, well, while you were going to dropping kids off at soccer practice, we were hanging out in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
It's a joke. It's funny because it's partially true. But how much of that are you seeing that they just didn't save as part of a family because they didn't really feel they needed to?
Well, again, there's a whole slew of reasons. Again, for people over the age of 60, especially of gay men, they may have not planned for the future because they thought maybe I'm going to die from HIV or AIDS back in that time frame, and they survived something, and they may have not even looked at a future that was bright, that they thought they could have lived into older age. I mean, there's so many reasons why our community just, we didn't uplift people to say plan for the future because they were trying to survive, right? So, and many people, you may have been kicked out of your job and didn't have a long-term career where you could get a pension or something else, and you chose a lot of professions. A lot of LGBT people are self-employed. For what reason? Well, because the environment to work in a corporation at the time where you couldn't share who you were, who you loved, wasn't accepted. Right. So there's so many reasons I think that we're disadvantaged.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I can see I'm passionate about it, but.
And now here's a sneak peek at what I've been working on at Out South Florida, on stands Thursday and always available online. This week in Out South Florida, powered by Queer News Tonight. I'm Out South Florida senior reporter John Hayden. In this week's issue, our favorite haunts. I preview Wicked Manor's Little Drive of Horrors and more. Also, 2 months after the grand opening, the pub's patio is finally open for business. And Men of Style and Substance. I look at an LGBTQ+ nominee in the very stylish competition. I'm John Hayden. Those stories and more in Out South Florida, on stands and online, and follow me on Instagram at John Hayden Journalist for breaking news and live updates.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out Television Studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
Well, we finish tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News.
In LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News, let's queer up politics. Queer rights activists to take on incumbent Republican for Missouri House of Representatives seat. A Democratic queer rights advocate is officially in the race to represent the 48th District in the Missouri House of Representatives. Joe Jeffries is a Missouri native running for the state legislature because of recent controversial legislation on transgender youth and adults, libraries, and more. He will face off against the current representative, Republican Tim Taylor. The district is between St. Louis and Kansas City. He is interested in working on state policy in a number of different areas and believes any opportunity to serve in the state legislature is a chance to represent the voice of constituents.
LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Harry Potter author says she would rather go to jail than use preferred pronouns. J.K. Rowling, renowned for creating the wizarding world of Harry Potter, has made a bold statement about her stance on transgender issues. In a recent post on social media, Rowling said, quote, "I'll happily do 2 years if the alternative is compelled speech and forced denial of the reality and importance of sex." Rowling has always been very vocal about not considering trans women as real women, and this statement comes in response to a report suggesting that a Labor government could criminalize attacks based on gender identity, including prison sentences for those who do not use a transgender person's preferred pronouns.
LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the worldview. Israeli Defense Ministry extends benefits to same-sex partners. Israel's Ministry of Defense has decided to extend equal recognition to same-sex couples under the law pertaining to families of soldiers who died in service. This decision follows the loss of a gay IDF officer shortly before his planned marriage. The joint announcement from the Ministry of Defense and the Speaker of the Knesset confirmed the decision. This comes after the Speaker Ohana's letter to Minister Gallant, in which he underscores amidst ongoing conflict and sacrifice by IDF personnel, discrimination should have no place. He emphasized the importance of fairness and equal treatment for all IDF members, irrespective of their sexual orientation.
In LGBTQ plus 1 minute news, let's queer up LGBTQ plus civil rights. Navajo Nation debates lifting ban on marriage equality. Though marriage equality has been legal in all 50 states since 2015, it remains prohibited on the largest Native American reservation in the country, the Navajo Nation. The region, being a sovereign tribal nation, is not subject to the decision of America's highest court. In June, Navajo Nation Council delegate Seth Damon introduced legislation to repeal parts of the Dying Marriage Act, a tribal law banning such marriages. Many members of the youngest ever Navajo Nation Council, as well as their 36-year-old president, have shown support for LGBTQ plus rights. But efforts to reverse the ban are meeting resistance from some of the 170,000 or so residents of the Navajo Nation, where conservative Christian teachings run deep.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up gaming. Top-selling PlayStation 5 game reveals popular Spider-Man character is bisexual. Black Cat, aka Felicia Hardy, has been confirmed as bisexual in Insomniac Games' Spider-Man 2. Fans aren't necessarily surprised by this, as Black Cat, who was also the love interest of Peter Parker, has been known as bisexual ever since she shared a kiss with rival and enemy Odessa Drake in a 2021 edition of the Black Cat comic. Considering Insomniac's Spider-Man series is separate from the comic, some fans were speculating whether her sexuality would evolve into something more romantic with Spider-Man himself throughout Spider-Man 2. That isn't the case. Not only is Peter with MJ, but as confirmed by Black Cat herself, she's got a girlfriend too. As to who her girlfriend is, a name is never revealed, so technically it could be anyone. Spider-Man 2 is the fastest selling game on the PlayStation 5 since the system was launched. That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world telling these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of HOTspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm John Hayden, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors, Queer News Tonight, including Bonnie Builder, Jeff Oliverio, Dr. Edward Summers, and my dear friend Gregg Shapiro. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a very
good night.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ plus evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ plus community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.